Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek wall plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I want to discuss a few updates that I've made to the stair module of the wall plugin. So right off the bat, I just want to show you guys the stair module is really just these two icons, the draw and the edit tool. Let's go ahead and put that back. So to get going here a little quicker, I've created just a few little solids here to kind of represent different levels, and we'll use those to reference against to create some stairs. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it, and we'll click this stair tool, and as you see right off the bat, the draw menu pops up. And the one thing that you will notice different here is that now we have right here, we have landing. So we have some options here for making some landings. So let's just leave that none for now, and we'll just go ahead and throw down a stairs real quick. Make sure I got that lined up. Okay, so there's your typical stairs that we've been able to draw up until now, just a straight run of stairs. And, you know, nothing's new there really. It's pretty much the same thing. But one thing that you'll notice is that if you go edit stair assembly, you'll notice there's a section here now with a little box around it called calculated parameters. So this previously, and by the way, these are only read-only parameters. You can't actually edit them, even though they are in these little text boxes. But what it allows you to do is just get a quick idea on, you know, these parameters that you probably want to know a little bit about. For one thing, the stair riser height. You know, previously it never, you know, gave you that information, so you'd have to go here and start using the measure tool and say, okay, well, what exactly did my riser height get calculated at? Because as you can see, the plugin actually has this max riser height, and then based on you know, all these variables, it will actually figure out the appropriate riser height to calculate and then assign to this run of stairs. So again, these parameters I think are kind of nice to have. Tells you the number of risers, the number of treads, and the total stair length. Now the total stair length is actually measured not from the nosing, but it's measured from the front of the stringer here. So that's what that actually is. So, but at least it gives you kind of an idea. Okay. So let's jump now into the more exciting stuff, which of course is the landings. So you'll notice here we've got a straight landing. Let's go ahead and start with that. And as soon as you click that, you'll notice we have open up here the landing options section, and it'll give you a few options here. I think most of these are pretty self-explanatory. I'm actually going to change this to 10 inches. I think I had that set wrong originally. And we'll go ahead and explain what some of these parameters are. So let's go ahead and update this model. And then you're going to see, so first of all, the landing length, of course, is the length of the landing measured, you know, from the front of the stairs of this top run to the edge of here. So I think we've got that set to 40 inches. Let's put a measurement on that just to double check what that is. Yeah, so there we go, 3'4", which is 40 inches. All right. So the landing extension. So this variable is very interesting, actually. So it actually serves a number of purposes. And in this case, where you have a straight run of stairs and then another straight run all lined up, it actually will allow you to control the width of the landing. So for whatever reason, you may want to have this width larger than the stairs. Or actually, I think you can even put a negative number in there. I don't know why you'd want that negative, but you know, that gives you that flexibility. But really what that does, it just affects the width of the stairs. Let's go ahead and put that back to 12. Okay, so what I want to show you now is what's really kind of cool about this whole landing piece that I've added in is if you actually measure each one of these stairs on these two runs, you're going to notice that the riser height is calculated exactly the same. So they should be equal, right? Let's double check that just to see. So 7.5. Then if you come up here, put a measurement on that, you're going to see 7.5, right? Well, it works out just even because it just happens that I think these floors are 120 inches apart, which is what, 10 feet. So yeah, that works out real clean, but it doesn't always work out clean. But the point is what you want is you always want your stairs to be all the same height, all the same riser height. And so that is essentially what this extension is doing for you. And even with this landing, it's calculating, you know, where to vertically put this here landing so that everything works out nice and clean. So what you got here is you have landing location, right? And that's really what's determining where this landing is being placed. So for instance, we could set this at 3, and it's basically measured from the bottom up towards the top. So if we set that to 3, you're going to notice that now your landing is dropped down here, right? So it's basically 3 risers up, 1, 2, 3, right? And then you can adjust this wherever you want it to be. Let's go 9. Okay, we could just keep going and going right up to the top. Let's see, did I not hit update on that? Yeah. So that gives you that flexibility of putting that, that landing exactly where you want it. But it's, again, it's calculating these rises so that they're all ending up to be equal, which is exactly what you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put that back to, let's say 8. That puts it kind of in the middle. Okay, and then let's talk about now this variable, landing under frame. So what that is doing is that's basically setting the value of the framing that this goes underneath this top run of stairs, right? So, we could set that back 12. And if you set to 0, I think it basically brings it right flush to the stairs here. I mean, sometimes, you're going to frame this so this stringer comes and connects right to the face of that. So it depends how you're actually framing that up. But anyways, it gives you that option to extend that landing back to catch that top stringers actually. Okay, joist depth, well, that's just the floor depth of the framing. You can set that to whatever you want. Same thing with the sheathing thickness, pretty self-explanatory. You can set the sheathing to any material you like here. As you can see, we have all the materials, and as well as any custom materials you want. Now, one thing you'll notice with these landings is right now I have it framed as a solid. The framing is not set up to be framed out yet. And I'm still deciding on that. I may change that up. I might decide to integrate this with a floor plugin and then have those landings actually floor assemblies, or I may have them just kind of their own unique dedicated assemblies as part of the stair module itself. So something I'm still thinking about, but for now at least we have kind of a space holding model in place, which fairly accurately represents the geometry that's going to go there anyways. All right, so now let's go ahead and run to an L shape here and see what happens. So now we start getting into more interesting geometries, right? And that's kind of the whole idea here. Is I was playing around with, I think I made a video about a week or so ago about, in response to a video actually made by Aaron, and I was trying to figure out, okay, well, how hard is it to actually make these complex stairs, as I call them, multi-landing type of stair situations. And, it takes some calculations, it takes some, figuring things out. And I'm trying, obviously you can still do it the way I described in the previous video where, you create your own landings and then just run straight shots of stairs in between each one of them. And so that option is always there to you. But this is just hopefully will allow you to kind of speed things up, right? Anyways, so that is a L shape with in the left direction. That's what the L stands for. So now let's take a look at this extension variable here. So right now we've set to 12, right? If we set that back to 0, you're going to see what happens with that. So what that's doing is that's basically pushing your landing. I mean, you can push your landing out more. In fact, let's do that, right? But then we can also push the landing kind of this way as well, right? So we can kind of create actually an L-shaped landing if we want. So it allows you some flexibility. I mean, I've seen situations where you have a slight extension, maybe 3 inches even, that sort of thing. In fact, I think that's actually the way our house here that we're staying renting here actually has the landing set up. And it just depends how you want to do that, but it gives you that flexibility. So in this, with the L-shaped landing, the landing extension parameter will extend, laterally and in the direction of that second run of stairs. All right, and then the right, of course, is just the reverse, essentially, of that same thing. So that's your right-hand side. Okay, and now let's go ahead and jump over to the U-shape stairs. Okay, so now what we've got is a situation like this. You see this a lot in commercial buildings. Not so much in residential, but you will see it sometimes. Anyways, same sort of thing. Now, as you can see, without the under frame, with that set to 0, it's just framed out like that. If you set that, like let's put that back to 11 inches, for instance, it will extend that framing, and so that floor actually looks more like a little shape of Utah there, if you will. But okay, so now let's talk about the extension again, or the landing extension variable. So here we have it set to 3. So what that actually is doing now for us is that is putting the separation between these two stairwells. So let's set that to 6 just to demonstrate. Okay, so you can see that it opens up that space, and you may have a wall there, you may not, but it just allows you to customize that to get that to where you need it to be. So basically in all these different cases, this particular parameter, the landing extension variable, serves a number of purposes, and I think I've indicated that here in the tooltip to help you understand what that's doing. But yeah, we can set this back to 40, for instance, and all that should remain the same. All right, so there we go. That's a U-shape type stairs, and one thing I wanted to add to is with that recent update I've made where you can duplicate assemblies. That's something I just want to show you. So like in a situation like this where you've got multiple floors going up and down, once you kind of got everything configured how you want, I mean, you may want to take this guy and just instead of having to draw another one, what we can do here is I'll just hit that control key and bring that up 120 inches. And there we go. And then what I'll do is I will regen this particular stair assembly. And when I do that, you're going to notice here, if you actually have the Ruby console open, it will say duplicate stairs made unique. So what it's done is basically taken that assembly and made a unique assembly out of it. And so now you can go ahead and edit that assembly, and that's totally independent from this assembly. So now we've got 2 different stair assemblies. So just wanted to run over that one more time and show you why that is particularly useful, at least in my opinion. All right, so I think that pretty much explains what I wanted to review with these stairs and the updates that I've made. But yeah, I think we've got a little bit more functionality here, maybe a little more useful. I am considering doing possibly a 2 landing staircase, where you have 2 separate landings that split the stairs into 3 runs of stairs. But that does introduce a lot of complexity. And it's not really that hard to code actually, because I have gone through and kind of pseudo-coded it. But the one thing I've thought about is that it does make it just more complicated for the user to try to figure out all the parameters and the ways, to make everything work the way they want. So anyways, that is something that's kind of on the table, but I will be giving that some more consideration. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please send those along to me. My email is nathan@medeek.com. And once again, I appreciate you guys' support, and we will talk to you later.